Hey, what's going on, everybody? Drill Solis coming back to you from Confidence Pest Control. I just want to say thank you, as always, so much for all the support. There's been a few likes and comments lately, and just, man, I've had people reaching out to me, and man, it's so awesome. It's so humbling. It's really, really cool. And yeah, I can't tell you, of all the things that I'm doing, this is the one that I really, truly am loving the most. And that's just, making these videos and hopefully bringing some value to anybody who's watching. If you're liking and you're finding value in the videos that I'm bringing and making, do me a favor, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, even share it with somebody else you may know. It really it motivates me to be completely honest. Um, it's I've been dying for the past week. I just been wanting to make another video. Haven't got as much interaction, and that's cool. I'm not expecting anybody to stop what they're doing to watch this. But as always, if there are any specific topics you'd like to go over, let me know, and I'll do my best to go over them. But with all that being said, today's going to be a startup guide to starting your own pest control. I've got a couple of other of the same videos as far as how to start a pest control. There, down there, there's not many videos to be honest. So you can go down through my library and click on those. This one has another take to it. It's just 5 things that I believe you need in order to really start and grow a pest control company. So with all that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. And the first thing that you want when starting a pest control company is a plan. And I know that is very vague, but it's so important. Um, when you're starting out, you have got. I can't tell you the importance and the value of setting some goals. Um, be wildish, be wild if you want to say say you want 1,000 customers this summer. If it's you as a one man show, hey, anything's possible, but know that it's going to be pretty hard to do. But set some realistic goals, see what you got to do to get to those goals, and then just execute and do them. Have them, don't say, oh, I want to grow. If you get one customer, then you've grown. I mean, you went from 0 to 1, you've grown. So have a specific number, to work to. The more specific the goal is, the better you are able to plan for that and to reach that goal. So say you want 100 customers in your first year, that's something you can work towards. That's 100 customers. Now divide that by 12. Obviously, it's not always going to go. I mean, you can go and say, oh, maybe that's 10 customers a month or something. Um, in December, you might not get 10 customers. You might get 1 or 2. But in July, you might get 20, 25 customers. So it averages out. But man, I just can't tell you enough how important it is to set those goals, because when you're on your way and you have something to measure it, for me, my goal was 100 5-star reviews by the end of 2024. Um, and that's the thing with goals, they change. Right now, my goal is 100 5-star reviews by Halloween of 2024. So, I mean, that's 2 months short. I think I'm 4 or 5 reviews away. So, you know, I'm hitting that goal, but I'm also changing that goal. My goal is to 100 by today. But by knowing how many I've got, that's why I was able to change it. If I was only at 60 reviews, realistically, I don't know that I'd be able to get 40 reviews by Halloween. But when you're 4, 5, 6 star reviews away, by being able to measure that, you're able to know where you're at and do exactly what you got to do. So that's one of the biggest. First and foremost is having a plan. Um, have a goal for and it doesn't have to be number of customers. Maybe it's commercial accounts, maybe it's revenue wise. Well, I mean, but just have a goal, something that you can measurably chase and get after. And it's a good feeling whenever you're able to you can measure it and you can see, hey, I had a goal of 100. I'm at 60, I'm at 70, I'm at 90. Like I said, I'm 4 or 5 reviews away from hitting that 100 review mark goal for myself. So that is, that's it's so important. Having those goals for you and your business, and remember, your 1 year goal isn't going to be the same as your 5 year goal, which isn't going to be the same as your 10 year goal. But just break it down. Just you have time, and so work on that 1 year goal, set that 1 year goal, and then just get to it. Um, and with that being said, kind of know, having a plan, kind of know what kind of company you're going to be. Are you going to be a company that is going to be really tailored to high end pest services, or do you want to be the cheapest? You'd be able to get anybody and everybody, but it's just the cheapest service. Find out what you want to do. Really, I mean, some people go the commercial route, some people go the residential route, some people go strictly with multifamily homes. Um, there's a lot of ways to get into it. You can niche down and into something more specific, but definitely come in with a plan. You don't want to just say yes to every customer. If you don't do any wildlife trapping, don't say you do wildlife trapping, but you know partner with the wildlife trapping company who only does that, and they don't do residential pest control, and y'all feed each other leads, little things like that. um, be willing to help out and build relationships. You know how I am about that. Build as many relationships, great relationships, as you can. um, but yes, know what kind of company you are, that you are, as far as what are you going to be doing. You want to focus on termite, um, quarterly, whatever all that is. Just have a semblance of a plan. Just make sure that you have a plan on what kind of customers or what kind of company you are, what kind of customers you're chasing. I'll get into that in another video. And then your goals, set your goals for the year. And then also with that plan, this goes in, this is the very first, this is the last part of the one thing you need when you're setting up a pest control company. That's plan. But the one thing I want to talk about real quick is finding a name for your pest control company. This is all the fun part for everybody watching. You're excited. You're about getting colors, and you're gonna make a logo, and you're gonna have this cool name. Um, you're gonna be ready to go, and this is the creative part. This is the fun part. And with that, I'm not trying to take any of that creativity away. I want you to definitely stay, as creative as possible. But one thing, and I wish I would have known this as well. And I love, my company, but the name is Confidence Pest Control. And it's not very hard to say. It's not very hard to spell or anything, but it's long. I will advise you, if you can get you a short name. you know, there's a shout out to Alan Draper. I think his company is called Proof Pest Control. Something simple, something easy to write when you're looking it up, something easy for kids to spell, easy, just something very, very simple. That's one thing that I recommend. Short name, sweet name, because you remember you're gonna want to create your emails and your domains and everything. And my email is jarrell.solis@confidencepestcontrol.com. That's just a lot, man. Like, I would love it to be, jarrell.solis@abcpc.com. Something super simple. So that's the last tidbit I will say on that. When you're creating a name, think of something that's, original. My recommendation is to stay away from the Kill Them All Pest Control or Best in Pest Control, or you can use it. I'm not telling you not to, but kind of corny. Again, I don't want to offend anybody. As just I see it all the time, and find you a good name and stick with it, and short, sweet, simple. That's what I do recommend on that. Number two, the thing that you need for starting your pest control is make sure you have your licensing, your insurance, your EIN, all that stuff. Be legit. There's too often people want to start a landscape company or a pest control company or something because it's such a low barrier to entry. You don't need a whole lot. You don't need a degree. You don't need this, that, and the other in order to start your pest control company or landscape company. But And I see this from my hometown. I've seen. I mean, just last year alone, I saw maybe a dozen or so brand new cleaning companies and yard companies come up in my hometown. That's wonderful. A lot of them are friends and family that I know, small town, but I'm rooting for them, and I wish them nothing but the best. But to be honest, if any of them were to come up to me and say, "Hey, man, could you put in a good word for me whenever your customers ask?" And depending on who it is, if I trust them and things like that, I'm absolutely going to help them. But you have to understand at the same time, I'm attaching my name to that, and the last thing I want to do is say, "Oh yeah, John Smith from up the road. That's my cousin. He's going to do a great job." Because I will hype you up. And if I've built that relationship and that trust with my customer, and they ask for a house cleaner or a yard guy or a roof guy or something, and I say, yeah, and I recommend my cousin just for him being my cousin, or just because I've known them for a long time. If I recommend them, I really better hope that they do a great job, because again, my name is on that, and that can be very iffy. You want to help others out, but you also want to make sure that you're not you're not ruining your reputation. If I recommend trash companies to five or six people, they're not going to ask for me, and they're not going to trust me as much either. Because they're thinking this is the kind of companies that these guys deal with. People that aren't insured. That somebody that just was like, you know what, I'm going to start a handyman service, and this is going to be John Smith, handyman at Gmail. But it's like, hey, are you licensed, insured? Do you have anything that to make you legit? And there's like, no, but I've seen people fix parts of garage doors, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to. They think that it's that easy, and in essence, it can be that easy sometimes. But you also want to make sure you're legit. Even though you're a small company, maybe it's just you and one guy, or you're the solo operator. Make sure that you're as legit as anybody else. There's the big O's and the big T's of the world. Y'all know who I'm talking about. They're known throughout the world, really. I mean, especially here in America, you see their logo. You know exactly who it is and what they do. Mine, you might not know what I do if you just saw the name. Then you see, hey, pest control, okay. But even though I'm a one man shop, I can do all the same things for the most part. As some of these big pest control companies. I can offer you a monthly, a bi-monthly, a quarterly services. I can offer you a one time. I can take care of bed bugs. I can take care of termites for you. I can take care of mosquitoes. Am I licensed and insured? Yes, I absolutely am, just in case. Um, all those things. I have this. They've got more revenue coming in. They have obviously a lot more options, and they can do a good bit more just because they have the resources. But as far as getting down to the meat and potatoes of what pest control is, and that's serving your home and doing it the right way, and lawfully, all that kind of stuff goes in with your paperwork. You're making sure you have insurance, making sure your license is up to date. um, that's one thing I will tell you. Whenever you're going to get audited after your first year from the Department of Agriculture, make sure your license is up to date. Renew it. Pay for it, or else it goes. I've got a friend who owes about $1,000 on his license because he hasn't paid. Um, it's something. It's going to have to get done, whether it's today, tomorrow, 6 months from now. You're going to have to renew that license. So take care of all the stuff, that all the behind the scenes stuff. Make sure that's all taken care of. Um, excuse me. Make sure your taxes are taken care of. You're going to have to pay your taxes quarterly. Um, it's a learning process. I didn't really know, and then oh man, I got to pay these and make sure. And it sucks, but you got to do it. You have to do it in order to be legit, stay legit. The last thing you want is for people to know about you, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to work with him. He's the person, and then they go and they find out, oh yeah, what you're doing is, I mean, you're not even legal to operate. Your insurance expired, your license expired. What if something happens to their dog? Something happens. I mean, and you're not insured, man. You got to stay on top of these things. It's a pain, but it's worth it in the end. So just make sure you have all that. Get all your ducks in a row with that. Um, at the end of the year, make sure you're staying up with your training as well. You go from technician or salesman or manager or whatever to owner. Now you have to do all those other things. So make sure that your licenses are up to date, your training is up to date, you get all your CEUs, all that. Make sure all that is good to go. That way, whenever the Department of Ag comes knocking, here you go. Here's everything you need to see. I am up to date. I'm good to go, and then you just move on like nothing. So that's the number two, is making sure all your paperwork is legit. Just make sure you're good to go, man. Just stay on top of it. Yeah, it's a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, but at the end of the day, you want to be a legitimate business, and to be taken serious, you have to be serious. So you know, make sure you're on top of that. The third thing you need whenever you're starting a pest control company is your equipment. If you saw one of the videos before, maybe you didn't see it, I go over the equipment that I think you need to start a pest control business. I'm not going to do that in this video. Watch the video down below, and you'll see what you need, what kind of product, all that. But find a truck, find a van, one of the two. Those are the two that I recommend. But do whatever you got to do. Make sure. And there are certain laws. There might be certain laws that you can't have, like my wife has a minivan. I can't have. There has to be like a partition to be a buffer between those products and yourself. And so I could be wrong, but I think that I remember seeing a state law for something like that. Every state is different. I know some states where they're using forerunners. Um, so just check with your state, make sure, and that whatever vehicle you're doing is capable of doing the job for you. And then get all the equipment that I recommend, like I said in the other video. Pretty simple. um your lock boxes, sprayers. As far as a backpack sprayer, I definitely recommend a mosquito fogger for anybody who's going to be doing mosquito services. If you're going to be doing if you want a spray rig, if that's the kind of thing you want to do, then get you a spray rig. I don't have one, and I don't plan on getting one, to be completely honest. But you make sure you got all your equipment. That's obviously, it's a given. You can't just go to a home just without anything. So make sure you have all your equipment: your duster, your de-weber, your sprayers, backpack, or B&G. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to have this equipment either. I mean, get what you need, and then as you make more money, you can get more equipment or better equipment. But you know, take care of your equipment for sure. Make sure you're taking care of it, and just get what you need. And then if you can't do termite for the first month, don't do termite for the first month. Stick with everything else, and then hey, now you've made some money. Now you can get the equipment for termite. Now you've made some more money. You can get some better equipment for everything. So just take it one step at a time. The fourth thing is, it goes back to the first one, and that's it's a plan. But this one in particular is a plan to get customers. So you've got your truck or your van, you've got your name, you've got your insurance, you've got your EIN. You're good to go. You're as legit as it can be. You're ready to go. The only thing that's stopping you now is customers. You know what you you got no way to make money. No, nothing. There's just nothing going on right there. And so make sure you have a plan to get customers. I did another video about that one. If you need to go do some door knocking for your first 10 customers, do it. If you need to offer your first 10 services for free and then get a positive 5-star review out of it, I, even though you did it for free, all it took you was a little bit of time, but those reviews will get you paying customers. So play the long game, just play that long game is my recommendation to you. Do some free customers, or do some free services. It doesn't always have to be free, or maybe give it a discount or something like that, but do whatever you got to do to get those reviews up so that whenever people in your area do start looking up pest control, and they see positive reviews from your company, and they see, okay, well, you know what, and believe me, you're going to get calls from people saying all the time, oh, I didn't want to call the big O or the big T, I wanted to keep it local. And then now you're in a pool of maybe, it could be 3 or 4 other companies, it could be 30 or 40 other companies, but Now they're looking for smaller companies. They're looking for somebody, with, and now it comes to the reviews. It comes to you as the owner. They're gonna look online, see what you're about. They will look you up, and they're gonna see exactly what you're about. Look up your photos. They're gonna look up your reviews. You have all that stuff good. They say, oh, you know what? We know who we're calling. So that is a plan to get customers. Door knocking is a plan to get customers. If you're gonna hire a marketing team, that's a plan as well. But you need to execute and do all the things that you need to do to get those customers. Like I said before, preparation builds confidence, and man, you can't prepare enough. And all that happens when you're really, really, really well prepared is that when it comes time to execute, it's as easy as it gets. Practice your speech with your wife, your sister, your mom, your dad. You're knocking on the door speech. Hey, what, you know, it sounds silly, and I get it, but the people, they're not going to laugh at you. They're going to respect you for these kinds of things. You're going to get a certain type of admiration, from your significant other, from others, because they see how serious you are about this. When you're like, hey, if you were a homeowner and I knocked on your door and I said this, how would you react? And just do the play along. Um, and they can critique you, give you some advice, different things like that. But have a plan. If you're doing those things, whenever it gets to the door, now you're ready. You know exactly what kind of pitch to say to them, a way to get their attention, and possibly get them to sign up and become a long-term customer. Um, you know, put yourself out there for everybody to see. Whenever I say, yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a TikTok channel, I've got an Instagram, Facebook. Um, I'm not super, super active on all of them. I need to be more, but people are going to come across you in all different ways, and so just have a plan. Just be out there and be willing to be seen. Maybe you're not a social media guy, and that's fine. Work to your strengths. Maybe referrals. Ask for referrals. There's just so many different ways to get customers, but that is, I made a video of it, but just having all your stuff together, and you're ready to do services. And that was me in the very beginning. I had my truck, it was wrapped. I had my poles, I had my backpack ready to go. I had, my shirts all ready to go, and I'm ready to go to get some, to make some money. And I had not one person, to go do a service for. So make yourself known, get out there and have a plan to get customers. And then, the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and this was an answer for somebody who just watched it. He asked, well, let me see real quick. I can tell you exactly who it was and what they asked. Tristan Bullock. He says, will you do something on customer routing and scheduling and how everything stays organized, and so you don't miss any appointments? That's where a CRM comes in, brother. Um, and that was the last thing I had, is a good CRM. The fifth thing that you need to have a start and grow a pest control company is a solid CRM. That's a customer relationship management system. Field routes, Gorilla Desk, Jobber. There's a million of them out there. There's a bunch of marketing companies that have their own CRM that can do that for you as well. So there's a million ways, a million companies that can do it. Find one that works for you. There's pest specific, like Pest Pack and Field Routes, Gorilla Desk, Jobber. I think maybe Cedar Pest. I think there was a new one. Service Site, and like all these companies that there's and they're niche down to pest control, and they know exactly how to do it. Man, it's as easy as it can get when it comes to that. You go in, you pay them monthly, and you have a system that has all your routing, field routes. I can go in there, I just go into my job pool to see who's due for service at the beginning of the month. I schedule all my days, and it takes about 30 minutes. It's as easy as it gets, man. Um, there's a lot of old timers who were pen and pad. They did it on invoices with paper invoices. You're watching this, man. That's my don't do that. Get away from that. We're in a modern day and age where digital is the way to go. So make sure you have digital banking. A separate business bank account, so that as you take all the payments, and you don't have to do the square or swiping cards. It's all just done for you. Field routes is great for that. I know that I want to grow. It's a bigger one for bigger companies, but again, I knew that I wanted to grow, and eventually, I knew that field routes is gonna whenever I'm ready, it's gonna be there. So I just instead of bouncing around from like Jobber and some of the other CRMs, I just went with Field Routes. It's expensive, for a one man show. It's a little expensive, but as you grow and with all the things that it can do for you, man, it's gonna be worth it. So I'm not even worried about that because I get more than everything I need. I mean, it sends out reminders. It does all my. It has you name it, it does it for you. That's the kind of system I recommend. Doesn't always have to be field routes, but that's what we use, and I love it. But you could also use like Google Worksheets, and you can have QuickBooks. I've seen people do that. It's much cheaper. You just see, hey, it has Microsoft Excel. I mean, I think the Google Workspace maybe has I think I don't know. I think I've heard it from other podcasts where it has the option to schedule and do things like that, where it can kind of do it all for you. But there's a lot that goes into it as well. I can tell you that. But I use field routes. I've got friends that use Gorilla Desk. They love Gorilla Desk. I know people who use Pest Pack. Um, so that's the owner's discretion. You find what works best for you, what you want to do, and you know find what works best for you. Like for me, it was field routes, but that was the last thing was a good CRM. That's going to take care of your routing. That's going to take care of your scheduling, your billing, um, all of your whenever if there's a past due balance, it comes all loaded in there. It has all your paperwork as well as far as the documents you're going to need for certain states, for certain pre-treatments for termites, termite treatments, inspection forms, all kinds of that already comes in there. So, you don't have to pay extra for it. It's already there, and it's just a one-stop shop for everything you need. So, get a good CRM. Um, so, just to recap real quick, the first thing you need when you start a pest control company is a plan for you, for your customer. What kind of customers do you want to get? What kind of company do you want to be? Set some goals so that you can just follow along that path, and you can also see how you're progressing with those goals. So step one is get a set of plan for your business. Step two is all your paperwork, all your licensings. If your certified applicator license, your insurance, your EIN, all your legal stuff, make sure that is all good to go. You need to make sure that you are on top of that. You do not want to get behind. Like I said, it's just going to cost you money and time. So get all that ready to go, and make sure you pay your taxes as well. Your number three thing is your equipment, whether it be a truck or a van. Make sure that whatever it is, you outfit it and that you're ready to get out there and do those customers, that you have everything you need, your product, your equipment to do so, and just that's all your logistical stuff, your execution stuff, all the things that you need to go. And then the fourth thing was another plan, but this one is specifically to get customers. Have a plan to get customers, go execute, get those customers. And once you have those customers, it'll take you to that fifth thing, which is a CRM. And that is a system to have that relationship with those customers, and a management system to manage all those customers for you, to manage all your scheduling, your billing, everything that I just went over with. That CRM is going to take care of all that for you. Hopefully this is helpful. I know it's about half an hour long, but again, yeah, I'm praying that y'all find some value in it. If so, hit that like button. If there's anything else that y'all want to hear me talk about, as always, just drop it in the comments. I'll do my best to make it a topic and make a video of it as quick as possible. Until then, keep grinding, work hard, and as always, stay confident. Take care.